Hey guys, welcome back to Zakari Hikari. My name is Zach, and as you know, here we discuss everything related to conscious manifestation, higher consciousness, Neville Goddard, the law of assumption, all that good stuff. So I have probably one of the most powerful and emotional success stories, we can call it, that came in last week. And I've been meaning to get on this video for a while. I'm going to get to the success story in a minute, but if you guys want to work with me, all my info is down below. It's been amazing working with you guys. The miracles I see every day, it's just been like so overwhelming. But please be patient with me. Please stick with me, especially for my email coaching clients. I get a lot of emails and I don't have enough time. I'm backed up on the emails and I have my other job that I'm doing full time, and I've been working basically 14-hour days nonstop between coaching, my job, coaching, and I'm still trying to get content out to you guys when I have a second to breathe. So here's my second to breathe, and here I am. So, hey, so I wanted to speak to you guys today about really what does it mean to see the perfection that's already there when you're trying to manifest something, and why this is so important, and going to the love and perfection that you already are, your circumstance already is, the people around you already are, because it's only perfection. Consciousness is always perfection in every single person, every single situation. Everything is one part of that unified whole of consciousness, that one. Sorry, I keep looking because I just bought this new camera setup from IKEA, and it's like one of those like what do you call it, the ring lights, and you have to like put it together, and it seems a little bit uneven, and I'm kind of like, is this looking okay? Is it should I move it to the center? But we're not going to edit this out because we're very real here. So I had a client who reached out to me, and I felt really moved. I read this email, and reading it out loud, I started to tear up, and I might tear up during this video, I don't know. But the powerfulness of this video it's real. And I wanted to link this back to how we see the perfection in everything around us when we are living from that I am. And how when we go to that perfection of how things already are, knowing that we're existing in all realities and everyone is just reflecting back to us who we are, they're reflecting back to us who we are from their own point of consciousness of who they are, then that's how miracles are truly performed. And I wanted to tie this in. If you saw the thumbnail, obviously we have a guest appearance coming up later. If you hear some heavy breathing, little ronchons over in the corner over there. But I had this client that I spoke with, and her email really caught my attention when she reached out. I don't have I'm not going to go into her whole story because it's quite private, but she gave me permission to share some certain things. But it really started with the story of how did I fuck my life up this badly? And how do I ever get out of this? And you're my last resort, and I'm giving up. I've done the techniques, I've done the imagining, I've done the affirming, all I'm seeing is the opposite, and things just keep getting worse. And she said, I understand. She wrote me her whole email with all her situations and everything that she's trying to cram into 3 sessions, which we're gonna do. But she's just like, I understand if you want to drop me as a client. And I'm like, what are you even going on about? Like, I was like, your situation, it's not that bad. Usually when you're at that point where you feel like giving up and you're at your wit's end and you feel like there's no hope, that's your point of power, because that is when you're giving up to that higher power, to the levels of consciousness. If you see my video, you're giving up to level 6 and 7, the I am. You're giving up to all of it, and you're removing the need and the lack and the wanting and the desiring, because you have nothing left to lose, so to speak. Okay, good. I keep thinking I'm looking at the wrong side of the camera because I'm like all confused. Okay, this is really trippy for me today. Okay, so, and she said, do you want, I understand if you want to drop me as a client. I said, absolutely not. Let's get on a call. Now, we talked in her situation where there's a lot of things. There's money, there's her living situation, there's an SP, there's a current situation, there's all these different things, and she feels like she's seeing none of it in the 3D. And she's only seeing the lack and imperfection that she's creating from herself through her own assumptions about how she's seeing reality. And one of the things that she gave me permission to share, is in regards to seeing. Her main thing was, how can I see my son differently? Now, her son has been diagnosed by doctors, and I'm not a doctor, so again, you're not here for medical advice, but I'm just sharing the stories of the wisdom that I share with people. But she wanted to know how she could see her son differently, who has severe nonverbal autism. And she said, how could she possibly believe in a law? And she's not seeing any of these things when she's affirming and she's trying and she's efforting, but she's seeing the opposite of everything that she's trying to see. And it really brought me back to if you're not familiar with Ranma, I'll give into some of the details here. There's been videos done about my story on other channels, but I'll go into Ranma in a moment. But I explained to her through, and again, it's always coming from your I am and identifying where I help you go, where has your awareness been up until this point, because you've been creating this your entire life. So I'm going to get into that. Let me read the success email first. Okay. Now she sent me, this was a little, I think this again was like less than 12 hours after our call. I think it might've been like 10 hours or so, but it was, no. It was actually, because I woke up the next morning. It was less than 12 hours. I don't have the timestamp here, but I'm very honest. So I'm just being real, but regardless of when it came, Zach, hey, ... I just had to email you. I won't email every time something pops up. I'll save it up for our next call in 2 weeks, ... with the heart emoji. But OMG, my son, and she gave a name, I'm not going to say the name, did something this morning that he's never done. I'm sorry, guys. It's just, it hits me. He brought his jumper, t-shirt, and joggers downstairs and got himself dressed right in front of me. Then he came over to me and tried to say outside and pointed to the garden. So I naturally responded to him and said, you'll need shoes on because it's cold. He smiled at me, went into the kitchen and got his trainers and put them on. And then he waited patiently whilst I got the keys for the door. Sounds basic, but trust me, it's not. And then she sent me another follow-up, and we went back and forth a little bit. And she said, OMG fucking God. Zach, I've had a 225.80 pound bonus in my account. I had no idea we were getting this. What the actual fuck? I literally have been doing everything you said for 24 hours. This is insane. I literally just went to check my bank account to visualize millions in there and saw this. And she had a screen account from, I'm not going to say where it's from, but it's plus 225.80 pounds. And I guess it was, 24 hours. But with her son, and this goes for anything in your life, guys, you are either existing in the lack of your desire or the love of your desire. You're either existing in the having of it or the absence of it. The lack, the fear. Okay? There's no middle ground. And behind that fear and that lack is the only one true energy that the entire universe is made up of, and that is the one universal energy of love. And that causes miracles. When you tap into that, when all you want to see is love, all you'll see is love. Or when you are that love, all you'll see, I forget the exact quote, but when all you want to see is love, love is all you'll see. Because that energy is the only energy of existence. And when you are naturally feeling into and being that energy, I'm not saying this is a condition to create. It's not a condition to see or manifest. Because again, feelings and emotions and all of that, it doesn't matter. But the emotion or the energy of love, it's a whole different thing entirely. I mean, the conviction of your desires and the knowing that it's done from the I am, with the gratitude of having it before it comes, and the love of it, knowing that it's already yours, that's what creates miracles. And I explained to her, you have to understand that your son is his own point of consciousness within this reality. His own perfect point of consciousness that is also one with the everything of all that is. Because wherever a part of God is, all of God must be. Wherever one part of consciousness must be, all of consciousness must be. You're one with it, as is everybody else. And in your reality and their reality, in your reality, you might be seeing a version of them that might not be reflective of that in the 3D, the perfection of who they really are, the true them of the I am, of that point of consciousness. But even that is perfect, Because when you understand that everyone is existing in multitude, infinite realities, everything, everyone, everything is perfect. It's the law of 1-1-1. And you allow yourself to see the perfection behind those circumstances, behind the appearances. It's not about, the 3D doesn't matter. The 3D doesn't matter. I have clients who are saying, how can I say the 3D doesn't matter? I had a client last night. Oh my God, my heart went out to her. She paid this person off Reddit, I'm not going to name names, $3,000 for 10 sessions. And this guy dropped her after 2 sessions because she didn't do the work he assigned to her. Another coach, she couldn't wrap her head around, how can you say the 3D doesn't matter when it feels so real? Guys, the 3D is a real experience of reality. It is a real experience. What I'm teaching is there's a higher reality behind the illusion of the 3D. It's not what it appears to be. The 3D is real. You feel it with your senses, but just like the Matrix, you're plugged into this world, but the truth behind this world is so much greater. And when you see the perfection in everything of your life, whether it's a circumstance, a person, someone who you don't think you're getting treated the right way, or you're going to a lawsuit or whatever it might be, you're going to the gratitude and the love behind that appearance, knowing that it is perfect because everything is perfect, and it is perfect because you say it is perfect. And if you say it is perfect, it must be. And then you are feeling the love of your desire. You're feeling the gratitude of having it now. Desire, it's just it's you wanting something that is already existing on another timeline, energetically in potential, so close to here. And you're feeling that bleed through. That's all desire is. That's why you give thanks for it before you have it, because it's already yours. And when you decide it and you know this and you align with that I am continuously, going there, dwelling on it, understanding it, whether you have to affirm it or visualize it or just sit in silent meditation, it doesn't matter. But that's what creates miracles. Now, I will say, when you go through and you're switching to that new timeline, things will, I've mentioned this in previous videos, it's the Vidiam Zealand, the induced transition point, where you're moving on to a new reality. But the old reality, the quantum wave, now collapses, and sometimes it causes something that looks like a little blip, like a little wave, if you think about it that way. And it's a little circumstance that might pop up, but no circumstances have any meaning unless you give it a meaning. So for her, she sent me another email maybe a week later and said, what do I do? He's acting out again, this and that. And I just said, my love, you have to still see the perfection, because that's happening, it's telling you that you've already moved to that reality. And as long as you stay there with that perfection, you will see the appearances change. Now, I'm not going to make grandiose claims and say it's going to be, someone's going to be cured of I don't want to put out that and say I'm a doctor. That's not what this is about, okay? But if you truly believe in this law, if you've seen how this law works to the extent I've been seeing it work daily in all of you, guys, it will create the miracles that you're looking for, okay? Now, with my cat, Ranma, this was a whole thing I went through this whole year in time in my physical experience of this cat. I had one little thought, an assumption that what if he gets sick and his kidneys get sick because he's a cat and I saw something online and I have to give him wet food and blah, 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 blah. And then he stopped eating for like a week. And I thought it was just the heat. I thought that it was summer. It's our first time in this house. Maybe he's not eating as much because it's so hot and that's why he's drinking so much water. And then he only had one poop in his litter box for a few days. So I was supposed to go on a solo trip that I always go on to the beaches of Japan every year. I like to meditate and do my own thing. And I was supposed to go and leave him for one night. And something said, bring him to the vet. So I brought him to the vet and I just said, should I cancel my trip? And she said, I can't tell you what to do, but it's quite critical. And my God, the cat, he weighed I don't know the pound conversion, but he was 2.4 kilo and he's supposed to be 5. And he wasn't eating. He was lethargic. He was a shell of himself. And it happened so drastically. It was like within a week, this all unfolded. And then they said they had to put him on an IV transfusion from another cat that they had on call. And he was highly anemic and he was losing blood. And it just went from bad to worse. Then he got diagnosed with a blood disorder. I forget the name of it because I just put it out of my consciousness. But it's a blood disorder where animals, I guess, can get it where they identify their red blood cell, either red or white blood cell, one of the blood cells, as a virus, and the body will try to attack it. So it's their own body attacking themselves that causes them to be highly anemic. So that came back positive, and all this stuff it was just like, oh my God, he wasn't eating. And I remembered that I'm seeing the version of Ranma as his own beautiful point of consciousness in this reality. And whether he leaves this reality or doesn't leave this reality at this exact moment, it doesn't matter, because he goes on forever. And I was determined to shift into the reality where he was perfect, and I saw the perfection. So I don't know if they do this in the States, but in Japan, at this vet, it was a 10-minute bike ride from where I live. So I would go there literally every day. Every day I'd go there and I would visit with him. And they give you like 10 to 15 minutes. They call it menkai, where you can sit in the room alone with him. And they brought him in and they just said, we're going to have to put a feeding tube in him. Or we put a feeding tube in him because he hasn't been eating. And, it's don't be alarmed, but this is just to get him those extra nutrients that he needs in order to, make sure that he's going to stay as long as he can with us. And they left me alone with him, and I started to cry. Jesus wept in the Bible, one of the most powerful lines in the Bible. I start, and of course, the Bible as a metaphysical book, not as a religious organization. That's not what it's not what I believe in. But Jesus wept as he was performing these miracles, as he was raising Lazarus from the dead. And I started to cry, but I had this moment where I reminded myself that if I say that it's perfect, it must be. And I sat there and I put my head against Rama on the table, and we just had our heads, I'm going to get emotional now, but we had our heads against each other, and I just looked at him and I said, "You're perfect. You're perfect. It's perfect. You're perfect." And I felt this surge of love for him, for his existence, for knowing that he's perfect. And I left and I just knew it. I said, that's it. I did my work. Came back the next day. The vet came in the room and just said, "Zach, we don't know what happened. The second you left last night, he just started eating. And we don't know what this is. He just started eating and he hasn't stopped. And he ate all his dry food. He ate all the wet food. He ate all the treats. And he ate everything. And we don't know what, it's amazing. And if this keeps up, we're going to take out the feeding tube." Then maybe a couple of days later, the initial diagnosis that he had came back negative. It was a false positive. It literally reversed the diagnosis. And now he had, I think it's called FIP, which it's the cat coronavirus. And ironically, they just discovered this treatment for it about 4 or 5 years ago during the big global event that we went through. I'm not going to name it in case there's any monetization rules, but in testing for a cure for that, they found this. And had he gotten this 5 years ago, he would have like a 10% survival rate. So everything I just watched it all unfold into this perfect thing because I declared it was perfect. I felt the love of him. Just like my client, she felt the love for her son. She felt the love for the perfection that was already there. She felt the love and the abundance of the money. She declared it from I am. She wasn't robotically or empty affirming. I'm not going to say robotic affirming doesn't work. That's not the message. All techniques are powerful when you're coming from the knowing that you are the technique. That's what creates. It's the feeling of conviction, the love and gratitude that you are reality and your desires are already, they're here and now. They're fulfilled here and now. Okay, guys? So I just wanted to share this story. I somehow kept myself together a little bit more telling these stories tonight, probably from a lack of sleep and so much going on, but it moved me a lot. The love I have for this client, all of you guys, and the stories I hear and the successes I keep getting. Everyone's like, I want to hear your story. I wanted to share a little Ranma story, but there's other stories that I'm going to be coming out with my own personal, but that's as soon as all the success stories, once they let up and I don't have any more to talk about, it's kind of like, okay, well, how can I butt in about myself when all these other great things are happening? But again, I'm trying to make more time. We're making a transition to be doing this in a much more focused way. I'm trying to make this so this is my sole focus, and I can really open up more coaching sessions for you guys. I can make more content for you guys, and I can just be more connected with you guys. And honestly, this has never been done in Japan before. I can say that as a fact. I've looked into it. This is a very new thing. So to the extent that we're doing it here, and I'm just kind of going along for the ride. So yeah, again, if you guys want to work with me, reach out. I love talking to you guys. I love hearing from you guys. Again, don't get discouraged. It's all you and it's all love. Put yourself at the center of your reality, and it must be. All right? I love you guys, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Okay? Bye. Oh, P.S. by the way, the whole point of this video, I was going to show you guys Ranma. So this is a little a little side trip. Come here, baby. Oh. Here's our little guest star who I didn't mean to forget about you. He was sleeping so peacefully. I got a new we got some new what do you call it? A quilt and comforter set and sheets for the bedroom, and he has not wanted to move from there. He's just such a little happy kitty. Can you say hi to the people? Can you say hi to the people? Hello. Hello. Yeah, he's my little baby. So anyways, guys, all right. I love you, and that's it. All right.